Good morning. So it's a Kombucha Sunday here. So I have my SCOBY hotel. We have our brews that are done. They're well overdone. I should have done them about 2 weeks ago, but I didn't. And then I have fresh hot tea. This will be used to fill these. So here we go. I'll show you a little bit about it. Okay, so I brewed 8 cups of fresh water with 8 tea bags and let them steep for about 15 minutes. I'm using the Lipton Organic. You can see their little tags here. So 8 cups of water, 8 tea bags. This is for 2 big pitchers full. So 4 cups will go in here and 4 cups will go in here. And in 28 seconds, I'll add my sugar, because remember, kombucha is sweet tea, fermented sweet tea. So I'll add my sugar, and then it'll get moved into here. All right, so it's very hot, but I will carefully pull these out and squeeze. Whew, hot. It was boiling, very hot, but I like to squeeze as much as I can out because this tea is what feeds the SCOBY. So I try to squeeze as much as I can out. Whew, hot. All right, so it's 1 cup of sugar per 4 cups. Seems like a lot, but as it ferments, it feeds on the caffeine and it feeds on the sugar, and that's what grows the SCOBYs. So you want to stir it in, make sure it's fully dissolved, and then I'll be adding it to cool water in the big jars. All right, so with super clean hands, I don't use a towel. I actually wash my hands and use paper towels just to make sure that my hands are super clean. I will open my SCOBY hotel, and then I open my brewed vessel, both of them, and go in and grab your SCOBYs. And they're very slimy. It's not gross. It doesn't stink. In fact, it smells like vinegar, like apple cider vinegar is how it smells. And I know it looks really gross. Sorry, guys. But I will use probably this. This is one from a long time ago. That will go. All right, I got cut off. I talked too long. So I want to pick the best 2 to go back in here, and then I'll put the rest in my SCOBY hotel. So this one's pretty good. It's nice and thick, has a lot of meat to it. This one's actually very beautiful. This one's kind of small. So this one will go in the SCOBY hotel. You can feed these to your chickens for probiotics. This is another small one that developed off of the big one. So anytime I brew, I'll add 1, and this is how many more I end up with, just so you can see. And then I'll come over here to this one and pull these out. So I'll pull these ones out, and there's one actually way down here. With your SCOBYs, it doesn't matter if they float or sink. They're healthy either way. As long as it's in there, you're not seeing any mold cultures. Fuzzy, green, white, red, depending on what kind of mold you have local to you. But this is beautiful. This SCOBY will go back in there. This is beautiful. All right, so I've pulled out 2 good SCOBYs, one for this one for that one. I've put everything else in my SCOBY hotel. I'll put a lid on it. This goes back in the fridge And what I'm going to do now is I'll pull out 4 cups, 2 cups and 2 cups of starter liquid to rebrew the next 2 batches. So I'm going to transfer all of this liquid except for 2 cups each, all of it into the second ferment jars, and then brew from there. All right, so I have my ladle. I'll come in here and kind of stir it up a little bit. This jar here is a continuous brew. So I don't actually ever empty this one. This one stays exactly the way it is. And I'll pull out 2 cups from here. It's about 8 scoops. And I'll stir this one up and take a couple cups out of here too. And I do this just to mix the cultures. So this is your starter liquid to restart your next batch. Okay, so what's left will go into a second ferment into the pop top bottles, or swing top bottles, I mean. So I just pour the rest. Woo. All right, so I have all my second ferment bottles here. They're empty. Just to make it easy, I pour it into a pitcher, and then I use my funnel to fill them. So what I'll do is I'll go through and I'll fill all of these to about here. You need room for the second fermentation, so you don't want to fill it all the way. You want to fill it just about where it starts to curve up. Let me start. So this is what's left over after filling all my bottles. We need one more, actually 2 more small ones. But so I have this much left over. What I'm gonna do is I'll top off my SCOBY Hotel just to make sure that they're nice and covered. You don't want them to dry out and mold. And then effectively, this is what I have left over. So I'll add it to another glass jar, and we can just drink it straight through the week without it going through a second ferment. You can flavor it, but I wouldn't recommend putting a top on it unless you have one of these swing tops. So I'll go ahead and add this in here. Okay, so let's recap. So these are now available and open for my new fresh sweet tea with a SCOBY, with more fresh water, and then I'll top it with a little apple cider vinegar. All of these jars here are gonna get second ferment yumminess. So this time we're doing cherry vanilla, inspired by Elena at Standing Pine Acres. No, I don't remember her name. Anyways, I'll tag her here for you guys. So she inspired cherry vanilla. So we're going to do cherry vanilla this batch. So we'll add, and I'll show you the process, but we'll add cherry vanilla to all of these. This is going to go back in the fridge as my SCOBY Hotel. And this we can drink straight. I can make salad dressings with it, whatever we want to do. All right, so I'm back over here with my fresh hot sweet tea. I need 4 cups per brewing vessel. And by now it's cooled. So I'll continue to put 4 cups in each one. Okay, so I have 4 cups in here. I have 2. I'm adding my last 2. So this is what's going to feed the SCOBYs here. So to each one, I'll add 3 quarts of cool water. And what this is doing is cooling down that hot sweet tea. You don't want to add your SCOBY to hot liquid. It'll kill it. It'll kill your culture. So you want to make sure it's nice and cool. Then you'll take your SCOBY and slide it in nice and gently. Drop it in. Let me go wash my hands now. And now I'm taking my starter liquid here. So I have my sweet tea, my cool water, my SCOBY, and now my starter liquid is going in. This is your mature kombucha from your last batch. This is going to protect it and help it grow. And then what I always do is I take my apple cider vinegar for good measure, just to make sure it's nice and happy. I just drop a little bit in there. And then the lid goes on. And this will sit in the corner on a heated mat with the lights on it to keep it nice and warm like bath water. It'll sit and ferment for about 2 weeks and then it's ready. So I don't know if you can tell, but the difference in color between these brand new brews and what's done brewing the first time, all of the caffeine and sugar has basically been eaten up in these, and that's why they're so different in color. But hope you guys learned something. We absolutely love brewing kombucha. We've been doing it for a while now. So let us know if you have any questions whatsoever. We're always happy to help. We will go and add our cherry vanilla to these next, and we'll show you that process. All right, so I pulled my vanilla beans out. I cut them in half, and usually what I do is I will cut them in half, lay them open, and kind of like with the back of my knife scoop the caviar out and then use the bean paste for things. But the last time I did that, it got everywhere. So I'm not going to do that this time. So what you want to do, if you've never cut a vanilla bean open before, you want to hold it just so that you're nice and steady. You are going to put your knife right in the middle, and pushing down, you're going to slide it down and cut it in half. And inside, I don't know if you can see that, but those are your vanilla beans in here. Okay, here we go, cherry vanilla, inspired by Elena. So I'll drop one in each. And then I go through and I add my cherry juice kind of all at once. So it's 1 tablespoon for these. So this is your second ferment where you get to add flavor and carbonation. And then these bigger jars will get 2 tablespoons. And then I go through and just add a little, about half a teaspoon or so of honey to each one. That'll feed the carbonation, the second ferment. This sometimes can get a little bit messy, but that's okay. Okay, so the 2 new brews are here. This is a seed mat. And these are incandescent lights that'll keep them nice and warm. And then we'll go ahead and put the lids on these. And then we stick them over there on the seed mat to keep them nice and warm. And what we'll do is we'll gently roll them and check them in a couple days. We'll do a quick burp on them to see how they're doing. But they'll probably be ready in, maybe about a week. I didn't really measure the honey, so there was quite a lot in there, so they might ferment really quick. But that's it. And so now they're all just going to hang out here, staying nice and warm for about a week or so. We'll burp these in, like I said, about 3 days. We'll burp them to see how they're doing, but otherwise they will just hang out here.